I attacked my opponent, gambiting a pawn in the opening, and won a pretty straightforward game. This is round 3 of the Rhode Island State Championship on the road to 2200, losing my first 2 rounds. One against a 2000 and another one against a 1500, and the most devastating game in a while. Although I've had so many devastating games lately, it's really hard to decide which one is more devastating than the other one. That's besides the point. Round 3, I'm entering with 0 out of 2. I'm in a 1600, and yeah, I play e4. And I play the gambit that I usually do in e5, where if we get into the Italian game, the Gyoko piano, we both bring our bishops out. On move 3, I play c3 and d4. It's a gambit because after bishop e4 check, no matter what white blocks with, this e4 pawn is hanging. And I block with the knight on d2, and he takes on e4, and the idea is that I gain time with the move d5. Now I'm gaining space in the center, I'm forcing his knight to move, and he decides to play knight a5. This is actually not really the most common move. 99.9% of the time they play knight e7. But the point of knight a5 is actually pretty straightforward. It's to get more trades. White gambited a pawn, so black is like, I'm just gonna trade more pieces, and you're down a pawn, bro. It's like, and so far I've literally sacrificed a pawn in every game in this tournament so far. Like the first 3 rounds, yeah, they were all pawn gambits. Like in the opening against the French, in the middle game against the fantasy variation of the Caricon, and now in this. So I'm a swashbuckler. What can I say? So he plays knight a5, and I castle, and he takes my knight on d2. And I take back with the knight to attack his knight and also guard my bishop. If I take back with the bishop, then he can take my bishop with his knight, and this might still be okay, maybe, but it's probably not. Like here, I actually don't even know what to do. This list looks bad. That's why I take back with the knight. And after he takes back, I do have a choice. I take the knight. Do I take the knight on c4 or take the knight on e4? Taking the knight on e4 is a lot better. Because that knight on e4 could go back to a natural square on f6. And this knight on e4 was way more centralized. This knight on c4 is just off on the queen side, and it doesn't have a good way to get back. You could go back to e5 potentially. However, he castles, and I go to queen d4, and so now cannot go back to e5. You go to b6, but then you don't have any guard of the d6 square, so I could play d6. He plays knight d6 instead, allowing me to double his pawn. But already, I actually had an interesting choice on what to do. I actually thought about the move bishop g5. And I was like, ooh, I'm forcing him to play f6. And if he doesn't play f6 and plays queen e8, this is a huge success, because now I can take and play rook e1, and his queen is trapped. So, and I was like, okay, so he has to play f6. And then I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll just go back here. Okay, this doesn't seem that bad. I was like, oh, wait. Just takes and plays d6. I was like, that's not smart. That's kind of dumb. So, I did not play bishop g5. I took on d6, doubling his pawns, and now this bishop's gonna have a really hard time getting out. He has to go b6 and bishop a6 or bishop e7, and he's still a couple moves from being fully developed. Meanwhile, I play bishop. Well, here was another decision. I was thinking about a few things. So, firstly, the idea of allowing me to double his pawns, it was pretty clear. Because now he can either go to queen b6 or queen f6. So if I play b4, he might consider queen f6, to try to force a trade of queens. And even though his pawns are doubled, it's opposite colored bishops, and he's hoping, and he thinks it's still going to be a draw. And also, this pawn is weak as well. So even though I'm a pawn, I'm down a pawn. But even though he has a damage structure, it's probably not enough to win. So if he can trade queens successfully, is this really good? So I thought about bishop f4, and I was like, okay, so now he plays queen f6. I could just like take and then go here, and then if he goes here, I can go here, and like, and you know how, you know, he's still 2 moves away from his other pieces into the game. This is probably good. This is probably good. And I didn't necessarily see anything wrong with that, but I still wasn't exactly sure. Like, for example, like if he plays queen c7, like, okay, well, probably queen b4, and I will definitely win this pawn, or maybe I move my rook on e1 first. I wasn't really sure, and then I was like, you know, like, is it any better than playing, you know, rook e1? Like, is this any worse than playing bishop f4? And I liked rook e1 a bit more, a sliver more, because it does make his life more difficult, I think. For example, like, you know, if you go queen b6 or queen f6, well, queen f6 loses more. I'll show you why. But queen b6, for example, I still double your pawns, and I go bishop f4, and now I still win your pawn, and maybe win this pawn, and I have a lot of pressure in. I can double my rooks on the open file, or double my rooks on the 7th. You know, I can do that type of stuff. So, you know, that's still not bad. And then, but now if you go queen f6, I felt like, okay, this is an improved version, because now I haven't moved my bishop twice, and I can actually just attack the rook in 1 move, forcing it to go to d8, and then I can go like rook e7, and if b6, rook e1, and if bishop, you know, b6 or something like that, I don't know, I can go here and try to checkmate you. For example, I don't even know what you do. What, go like, I don't even know. If you take this pawn, I go check here, and some sort of check here, and I did not move my rook in the right spot. This is not a good spot for the rook. So if I wanted to do this in the first place, I could just go here. And now if b6, I can go check here, and win this rook like this. That's probably more simple. So yeah, that probably makes the most sense. Anyways, point is, rook e1 and queen f6, even more winning for white. He goes rook e8. I'm like, okay, that's logical. And now I have another decision. Do I go bishop g5, because he cannot take because of back rank mate, and if he trades rooks, and same thing, still back rank mate. Do I go bishop f4, attacking the pawn? So now he could trade, and then I could win this pawn. And if he tries to defend the pawn, so I was thinking about, okay, rook takes, and like queen f8, then queen b4. Like, this looks pretty good for me. And if b6, I could take, but now he goes queen d8, and I was like, still looks pretty good for me. I could go bishop e7, and then d6, or I can go rook e7 right now. This looks pretty good for me. I can even go queen. Bishop c7 is really fancy. If we go queen f8, then I can trade and go check here and mate. So that's pretty cool. I didn't see that during the game. So I was like, okay, well, I could go bishop f4. I could go bishop f4. He probably wouldn't go queen f8. He'd probably just, you know, play b6 and the game goes on. But I was like, you know what? I'm actually going to trade rooks, play bishop d2 to guard the e1 square, so I can centralize my rook. And I'm also potentially going bishop c3 and to make a battery on this long diagonal. And I hit the queen with tempo, so it doesn't seem that bad. The only issue is queen e5. Queen e5 offers a queen trade, and it makes me lose time, except it doesn't because I play rook e1, and that's what I planned this whole time, and he fell for it, and now he's lost because there's back rank checkmate if he takes my free queen. So I won the game. He plays on it for a bit longer. He takes my rook and develops, and pushes his pawn forward to develop pieces, and now it's just about converting. And how do you convert? You go for mate, and if they don't like to go for mate, then you go to trade more pieces, so your advantage is more felt. So I would go queen c4. I need to go queen c7, and take this pawn maybe, or, you know, tickle the bishop and rook. But in this case, he goes bishop b7, and now I swing my queen back over here because it's a double attack. I'm threatening the f6 pawn, and I'm threatening d7. So after he takes on d5, I take on f6. He goes g6. I take on d7, and now he has to block with his bishop. So now his king is still really, really weak, and now all these pawns are for the taking. I play h4. Maybe I'll go h5 and h6. And also I create luft for my king, so I never get back rank checkmated. He goes d5. Now I bring my bishop back. Now I'm just going to go queen e7, queen f6, and checkmate him. So I do exactly just that here, and now he's forced to sacrifice his rook for my bishop, and now it's just a bishop versus a queen. And he plays a few more moves. I win a couple pawns, and he resigns. Yeah, this was definitely my, he lost his first 2 games as well, but this was really good for me in the sense that like now, I'm going into round 4. I had an easy round 3, so I conserved my energy, and now I can, play better in the last round. So definitely my easiest game by far. And yeah, I mean, he fell for the little tactic there, so I got lucky. I think even if he didn't fall for the tactic, I mean, I would have put him under a lot of pressure. However, it is opposite colored bishops, and he's up a pawn. I would most likely win it back, but still, he still had some drawing chances if he didn't blunder there. Anyways, I'm gonna hit the game review. I'm gonna end it there, and I will see you guys for round 4. Peace out.